Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Night Mailbag Show. I'm your host, Brandon. You can find me at the BG-G, and I've brought in the other half of the Wake Up crew. 2 weeks ago, I had Ray. Tonight, I have Jay. You can find him at your boy, Jay Rich. Jay and I have known each other for, man, it feels like forever, Jay. It feels like it's 5 years, but it feels like forever. But how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited. You know, when the Mailbag Show comes about, I hope that I bring the crazies. I hope I bring the good questions. I hope I bring some decent answers. But I hope everyone who's tuning in this Saturday night just has fun. Like, let's just have a fun show. Let's talk about a bit of fantasy, maybe a bit of other stuff. Some great questions from the people. An exciting chat. I always love when the chat gets wild. We had a Dynasty Deal Show just this last week, and that was a ton of fun with the members of the channel. But now it's public, Brandon. Now anything goes. Because if they thought I was wild last week, Mailbag can be any question, anytime, about anything. I know you got some questions queued up, though, so should we start with the first question, and then maybe down the line, as the people start to flow in, we can get to the next stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think yesterday's title was Unfiltered and Unhinged. We are way more unfiltered and way unhinged on Saturday night. But we're going to hit you with the hard-hitting question here, Jay Rich, from one of our patrons, Big Diaz. Here's the opening question. Cash App or Venmo?
This is a great question. It's a great question for me because, you know, as an American person, I'm very familiar with both of Cash App and Venmo. I'm going to lean Cash App, though. I don't know who owns which, but I thought that Square owned Cash App, but I may be wrong. But yeah, as a Canadian, I cannot use Cash App or Venmo. So for all of you people who want me in your leagues and say, oh, Jay Rich, can you just Venmo me this? Or can you just Cash App me that? No, because these are domestic transfers and I am not inherently domestic. So if you could please stop doing that, use LeagueSafe or allow me to use PayPal. That would be great. But yeah, I'm going to say Cash App. Brandon, what is your preference? Is one better than the other? Because I've used zero of both.
You know, I have both, and I use both in different ways. I use Cash App more for my family, but then I use Venmo for some transactions that I have to happen.
Those shady deals, huh?
Okay.
So Venmo's like
Venmo is the one that's attached to some of my other, the side digs.
The more shady characters use Venmo.
The legal side transactions, right? They're all legal. It's all legal. But I do prefer Venmo. I do prefer Venmo. It is a little bit more. I can be a little bit more private. The whole world doesn't need to know everything that's going on in my life. But I do feel like Venmo is my personal preference here.
I see Patrick. Wow, Patrick, I see your comment here. I hope Canadians gain freedom one day. Well, let me tell you, sir. We have e-transfers in Canada, so we just send money through like nothing. You need 3,000? Boom, here you go. No problem. Don't even need an app. Just log into my banking app and boom, there you go. It's yours.
Yeah. Well, appreciate the question there.
Big Diaz with the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, we've got. I mean, Ray's hitting us with the hard-hitting. Am I wearing a hat? Yes, I'm wearing a hat because my hair.
I don't see you wear hats very often. It's not really helping your hairline though. Like the way you have it situated right now.
No, the way it is, it's making my.
It's looking a little bit. We're not trying to say nothing here. We're not trying to say nothing here. Like I'm just telling you. We got you straight now. We got you straight, but. Thank you, Ray, for pointing that out. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do you like that, but here we are.
But I think we're going to get to the question that everybody kind of is talking about in the chat, Jay Rich. I think we probably should just get to it. It's the Quinton Judkins situation. As Ray is saying, it's not good. For those who maybe are listening, or maybe you're just stuck under a rock, or maybe you're out partying on a Saturday night, Quinton Judkins. Just recently, within the last hour or so, Jay Rich showed up on the Broward County register for domestic violence. How do you feel about that from a fantasy perspective? Obviously, we don't condone domestic violence, but let's look at it from a fantasy lens perspective. Does this do anything yet?
I think naturally your inkling is to say yes, like this is a problem. And of course, it happened in Fort Lauderdale because great things always happen in Fort Lauderdale. But like, again, is it assault? Is it domestic violence? We don't know the specifics, obviously. But people are going to react. People are going to make moves. People are going to panic. What does this mean? At the end of the day, Judkins plays for the Browns, right? He doesn't play for the Eagles. He doesn't play for a team that can actually run the football effectively week in and week out. I don't think we should be overly worried. And if you got him, keep him. Like, don't trade him because of this news, unless you're going to get full value back. Now, again, maybe you can get a first plus back. Maybe you can pivot to another player, and that's what you want to do to potentially avoid the situation. I'm all for it. But if you have him right now, hold him. And if someone is getting a little shaky and wants to move off him, I would consider buying. Like, I really would. If they're really trying to move off him and you feel like the price is right, why not take a shot? I mean, this happens, unfortunately, way more often than we would like from NFL players. And there ain't a lot of them that ain't playing, right? Like, most of them are in the league in some capacity. So it's not a good look. It's not something you want to see, but it's just a game. And if you don't mind having a player on your roster who has some potential question marks morally, or for all we know, maybe this is a misunderstanding and he gets cleared and nothing ends up happening. So I think in a lot of ways, just kind of depends on how you approach fantasy football. I am definitely someone that isn't unwilling to take that risk, but I generally play pretty risk-free. I don't want this to happen to one of my players, but if they're already on my team, look, I'll hold them. I'll see what happens. But outside of that, like, I'm probably not trading for him unless the price is really, really low. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't go out there and see, like, is a second plus available for Judkins? Because maybe it could be because someone just really wants off of him, and you could just trade a veteran running back, a James Conner in a second, and go get Quinton Judkins because James Conner is your fourth running back on your team, and you just want to run the risk of whatever Judkins could be should he be cleared of this or not suspended for like an entire season, and it not being as big of a deal as it may seem today.
Yeah. Here's a couple questions here within the chat. Quinton or James Cook right now?
Should have been James Cook already.
Okay. How about JT in the mid-second or Judkins in the 27 first?
I am taking JT in the mid-second.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So there's the pulse of Judkins. Are you interested in any Jerome Ford?
Honestly, like this is where you get into, if something happens, who's the guy you want? It's Jerome Ford or Dylan Sampson. And for my money today, like, why not just take a shot on Jerome Ford? If it's a Sampson owner, you're not trading for Sampson because they're going to ask for like a second round pick, maybe even more. And it's just not worth it because Judkins could be back and be fine. So why not see if Jerome Ford is maybe on waivers? Like, there's definitely leagues out there where he's just not owned because they drafted 2 running backs and they barely even brought him back. So again, I still think there's a lot of world where he is the more valuable piece. He knows the offense and he could be fine, but Sampson could also be the guy. And so there's, in a lot of ways, it's just kind of managing that. I don't mind taking a shot on Ford, but I doubt I'd be trading for Sampson, maybe potentially even trading him away if someone really wanted him.
Okay. Would you sell Sampson for a second?
I don't think I would.
Okay.
Because I think right now you look to just say, okay, you're selling him for a 26 second. 26 class is okay. A lot of people were probably drafting Sampson as a late second, early third, depending on, your league and how running backs were valued. So I feel like that lateral move just kind of doesn't really make sense. I think just going and seeing if Jerome Ford is on waivers, picking him up, maybe dropping some fab on him just to see if anything comes of it is definitely worth the time. But I wouldn't just trade Sampson away because there is that outcome that potentially maybe he have that first crack at being the starter or at least the complementary piece with Jerome Ford, at which point I think he would look even better than being the complementary piece to a Quinton Judkins.
There you go. Well, there's the bow, friends, on Quinton and that piece. We're going to jump into another question, which maybe ties into all of this with the running backs. Shane asks, Jay Rich, who is the rookie running back outside of Genty and Hampton? So you can't give me Ashton Genty or Marion Hampton, who will give us the best production in 2025?
Best rookie running back excluding Genty and Hampton. So we're looking to very likely Harvey, KJ, Hendo, Judkins. He was in the conversation.
He was in the conversation.
Not so much in the conversation anymore. So I go back and forth with this a lot. There's a lot of discussion about J.K. Dobbins and what he's going to be in Denver, and people thinking that he's going to have a larger role than people expect. And does that hurt Harvey's outcome, which a lot of people thought could be a fringe RB1 potentially in his first season in that Sean Payton offense, a lot of work in the passing game. But I still just can't quit TreVeyon Henderson. Like, I just can't quit him. And especially because we know he's a complimentary back, but he can still be great and have a monster fantasy week for you. And absolutely, RJ Harvey can do that as well. And I think in a lot of ways, Caleb Johnson is probably the sleeper in all of this. It's just, I'm not ready yet today to say that Caleb Johnson is the pick. I understand if you like RJ Harvey, I'm still willing to bet on the talent, even for this season, potentially, of a TreVeyon Henderson. I think they're going to use him in a lot of ways. I think he's going to be a PPR monster for this team. But that's where, for me, the sleeper isn't Henderson or Harvey. It's Caleb Johnson. Like, throughout the offseason, we're going to find out very quickly how they feel about him relative to Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. And if for some reason he ends up being the lead back, it's why I drafted him pretty high in Scott Fishbowl, because the high-end outcome for him is higher than that to some extent than TreVeyon Henderson and RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey, depending on what happens with J.K. Dobbins, could be a great player and great for fantasy, but we know the Steelers love to utilize their running backs very heavily. We know that Arthur Smith loves to utilize his running backs a lot. And so if Caleb Johnson does get that starting RB role, I do think there's a lot of upside there. But if I'm just betting on a player today, I'd be betting on TreVeyon Henderson. I think his role is very secure. I think from the moment you drafted him, you knew exactly what he was going to be. I think there's still plenty of room for upside, depending on what happens with Ramondre Stevenson and how they ultimately use him as well.
Yeah. I would probably say I'm between Caleb and TreVeyon behind in terms of best production. We don't know the full, obviously we're playing in a vacuum here. We're not doing PPR, PPC, all that other stuff that could easily skew one way or the other. Yeah. I mean, one guy that I would ask you, how do you possibly Cam Scatterbo? How do you feel about that one with that situation? I know, again, as a Giants fan, I'm not a huge, I know what he's probably going to be, but he has also the opportunity with Tyrone Tracy not being able to hold on to the football, and Devin Singletary, who pretty much everybody in the fantasy community is for the most part written off. But does Cam Scatterbo get any consideration in your mind, J. Rich, or is he just another committee back?
I think he'll have a role in the Giants offense, but I think you'd also require a pretty catastrophic season from RJ Harvey, Quinton Judkins, who's definitely going down that path, TreVeyon Henderson, and even Caleb Johnson for Cam Scatterbo to really make an impact to where you'd say he's the third running back behind Hampton and behind Genty. So I just think it's a bit of an uphill battle for him. And in a lot of ways, Brandon, would I be shocked if he's outscored by a Jarquez Hunter? If he's outscored by a Bashal Tuden? Yes, but I also don't think it's impossible for that to happen either, right? So that's where it's I understand people like Scatterbo, and I think the calling card for him and where he could score a lot of points is if he does have that goal line role, and somehow the Giants are actually good offensively and they're in the red zone frequently, and he can be the guy that converts those touchdowns. Maybe he falls into 8, 9, even 10 touchdowns because he's so great around the goal line, and even in the pass catching game, he's great as well. And I think he could be a great asset for the Giants there. But to say that he's going to outscore some of the guys that we already have in feature roles is a little bit bold. But, if you like Cam Scatterbo, you like Cam Scatterbo. I can't really hate on it.
Yeah, no, there's definitely there's a hive out there of folks that definitely are on board with Scatterbo. All right, J. Rich, let's jump to the sophomore quarterbacks here. Our friend Dino Mitch over at the Dynasty Theory asks, which second U quarterback will average the highest points per game this season?
Man,
that's So you got some options, right?
I mean, okay, but are we throwing Jayden Daniels out? We have to throw him out, right?
Yes, let's throw for this argument. Let's throw him out.
I will ask the chat. Does Jaden Daniels? Because Jaden Daniels is going to be my answer if he's included. I'm assuming he's out of the conversation, right? If we take him out of the conversation, so we're talking about probably one of Caleb, Bo. Oh, I guess Penix could be in there, but probably not. May.
JJ.
JJ. JJ's the toughest one for me, man. Like, what is he going to be this season? Like, what is he going to be? I like him a lot, but I just don't know if he's going to do enough to where I'm like, okay, cool. He's going to throw for 25 touchdowns. He's going to run for 300 to 400 yards, which he can. You definitely can. The easy answer for me, and I don't know how people feel about him, it's Bo Nix. And that's the crazy thing is that somehow to me, Bo Nix is still underrated. Like earlier, someone was talking about RJ Harvey as the easy guy that could be RB3 because he has the best O-line. But another player with the best O-line is Bo Nix, right? And I see Bo Nix as the player that can take the step up even higher, more so than a rookie running back who was a second rounder. And when you have a team that is so strong defensively, coming off of a season where you had the best O-line in football, arguably, at least in the top 3 that Bo Nix had, to also then have a situation where you're adding playmakers offensively. You're bringing in an Evan Ingram, hopefully second year with a few different receivers. Ray really likes Troy Franklin. I like Devon Vele. Marvin Mims made a splash late in the season. We know Cortland Sutton's going to be a weapon for Bo Nix. And it's like people forget that he led all rookies in touchdowns last season. It wasn't Jaden Daniels. It wasn't Caleb Williams. It wasn't Drake May, obviously. Definitely wasn't Michael Penix. It was Bo Nix. And when we know that he took a big leap after the bye week in the second half of the season, threw the most touchdowns amongst all rookies last season, like you should be trusting this guy to at least have a high floor and a high ceiling as well. So for me, the answer is Bo Nix. If I was picking a next guy up, it would probably be Drake May just because of the rushing floor. And I think that they're going to be fine offensively. It really comes down to is like, I don't want to run the risk of Caleb Williams. I think he will be really good at some point, but we can't just act like he's not getting a new offensive coordinator, new system that he will need to adapt to a little bit, right? And Drake May is doing the same thing. Like the only player that isn't doing that is JJ McCarthy, who didn't play at all, Michael Penix, who played 3 games, and Bo Nix, right? He played the whole season. So he's actually going into his year 2 under the same system, same offense, same everything. And I think the ability to take that leap up is so much easier for a player under those circumstances. And he's just going from a place that's so much higher to still take a leap forward. Caleb's coming from a place that's very, very low. Drake May, same story. Michael Penix, small sample. JJ McCarthy didn't play. So for me, Bo Nix just kind of has the best opportunity both for a floor and ceiling. And I will take Bo Nix here.
Yeah, I'm with Bo. I think offensive wise, like when I look at what he offers and what he did in his rookie season and where we think he can go. Right now, you're giving him, a better running back situation. Like
66%,
not to mention
3,700 yards.
Not to mention they help the defense too. Right.
God,
so in theory, he's going to have like it's already good. And now it's going to get better. And it's like he's going to get even shorter fields with more opportunities to score points. Like I'm not saying
they are a very complete team. Like they're not the Eagles, but they're a very complete team. Like they are a very complete team.
It wouldn't shock us in late January if we're talking about the Denver Broncos.
We should be talking about the Denver Broncos in late January. Like we should.
Right.
Like they have every opportunity on the back of a second-year Bo Nix being significantly better in year 2 and a phenomenal defense that they are going to give teams trouble. Right? Like the only reason why they couldn't beat Buffalo is because Buffalo knew how to play against Bo Nix. Do you know why? Because they have Josh Allen. And he's just a better version of everything that Bo Nix does really, really well. And so if they're not playing Buffalo, who just they couldn't stop, unfortunately, there's a world where they could make a run. And the AFC is very, very tough. So it's not going to be easy for Denver, but I think the easiest pick ever in the world is Bo Nix. Like it's just he has so many things at his disposal, and he's like the only rookie second-year quarterback that's building off of a great situation already.
Yeah, I like the answer. And I like Drake May too. I mean, I think those are which you said. I think those are probably the two. Those are probably the safer options if you wanted to go risky. Maybe Penix or JJ McCarthy.
Where are you at on Penix versus McCarthy? Because that's like I'm taking McCarthy, I think, like 10 times out of 10, and that is strictly on the back of the head coach. Like I don't care about Zach Robinson. Like I want Kevin O'Connell. Like that's what I'm betting on. I'm betting on him taking his guy and saying we're going to be all right without Sam Darnold. Because if Sam Darnold can be good, I think JJ McCarthy can be better. Like I really, really do. And it's no disrespect to Sam Darnold, but like he's really not that good of a quarterback. And I like Penix, but I would happily take JJ, especially for fantasy.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at it from a fantasy perspective, people are going to definitely be in on JJ, and I'm in on, and I like JJ. I think he's going to be very good for that offense. I think he'll be able to do a few more things that Sam wasn't able to do in the offense in terms of just his, he's a little bit more mobile than Sam Darnold. Sam can run, but it wasn't like Sam was turning around doing one, two reads and running. I don't know, man. I just really do I really like Penix. And I really feel like he's always, I just feel like he's always kind of just been glossed over, even in his time at Washington, right? Like even as we're going through the draft cycle last offseason, it was kind of just like, oh yeah, Michael Penix, like he's good, but he's old, and
very injured,
like very oft injured. Like, can we trust him? I don't know, man. I really, there's something in Atlanta. I like his weapons.
Okay.
I think he's got the better set of overall weapons, right? Like, yes, okay. JJ has jets, right? But Drake London's not a slouch either. Not that they're on the same level, but he's, and then you got Bijan, which is clearly a step and ahead better than whatever Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, whatever else is in that
backfield, though, for a pretty good quarterback. Good backfield,
right? We're gonna go down the Kyle Pitts train.
It's up to you. This is your argument, Brandon. This is your argument. I'll take TJ Hawkinson myself, but like if you like Kyle Pitts,
I think they're both pretty good. I mean, Addison,
both pretty good. Well, but no. I want to clarify. Kyle Pitts equals TJ Hawkinson. They're both pretty good.
They're not the same. We know they're not the same. Okay. They're not the same. Sure. Right. I look at the whole totality of the Atlanta offense. I really like the pieces, and I don't think that Michael Penix is so much farther away from JJ McCarthy.
But like, who do you trust more calling the plays, though?
Who have we already seen done it in the NFL? Like I've already seen Penix do it.
Okay, so I asked you, who do you trust calling the plays? And you said, who have we seen play 3 games in the NFL?
I'm going to take Penix. I'm going to take Penix. You're going to take JJ. And probably at the end of the season, one of us is going to have egg on our face. Probably will be me because JJ and Minnesota are going to probably
usually if you back the Falcons, you will have egg on your face at some point.
Usually we'll have egg on my face at some point. But that's okay because I believe in Michael Penix. I think that he's going to do a lot better than where people think he's going to be.
And Minnesota has a better defense too. Like significantly better defense. I don't mind Atlanta's defense. It's getting better, but I do think Minnesota's defense is a lot better. And I do want to acknowledge Shane's comment because Shane was talking about what did JJ do in college that makes us like him. And at least for me, one of the biggest reasons I really like JJ McCarthy is that he ran a pro style system in college, which most quarterbacks don't do. It's just straight drop back shotgun. Like they don't run a true pro style system with play action, with run fakes. And that's where JJ was kind of always ahead of the curve with a lot of these quarterbacks. Like we've been to the Senior Bowl, and Shane, you've seen these guys. They don't even know how to hand the ball off, half of them. And they have to learn all that. Like that's all the things that JJ McCarthy already does very, very well and has been doing in college for a long time. And he's very accurate over the middle, right? Which is something that we haven't seen from Sam Darnold as much. He's fine going on the sidelines. He's fine going down the field. He wasn't as strong throwing over the middle. That's where JJ really excels. And obviously he does provide a bit more movement, as you mentioned as well, Brandon, is that he provides some movement skills and can operate a little bit off schedule easier than some of the other quarterbacks they've had in the past.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is one thing that Sam Darnold does a lot that we always get complained with is just he makes bad mistakes. And he's made them He's made him his entire NFL career. He was making him even in college. So we'll see. But yeah, that was a good discussion right there. On JJ and Penix and even the second year quarterbacks. Jay, what's your most intriguing offseason move that happened as this offseason? But as we're going into 2025, what's the most intriguing move that you saw?
The most intriguing move this offseason. Am I going to go out of the blue while I think? I mean, for me, probably as just like an NFL fan, it has to be Davante Adams. Like, I am just so intrigued by this Rams team this year. They got a top 10 schedule. NFC West schedules are an absolute joke. But it's got to be either Davante Adams or potentially Robert Saleh returning to San Francisco. Because while it has zero impact on fantasy, if he can turn that defense around and they can turn into what they were before, like, this team is going to be really good again. Like, they already have good offensive weapons. Christian McCaffrey coming back. Like, if that defense can be as strong as it has been in past seasons and the sack numbers go back to where they were, even though they lost a bunch of pieces defensively, like, they're going to be such a better team and the NFL is going to be so much better for it. But from just a pure, like, fantasy offense perspective, it has to be Davante Adams. Because I think that people just assume that we've seen the highest highs of McVay and you know, what we've seen from Stafford when they won the Super Bowl with Cooper Kupp and Triple Crown, everything. Like, I'm not going to rule out an even higher ceiling for Stafford with Puka and Adams, because Puka and Adams might be the best duo that Stafford's ever have and might be the best duo McVay's ever had. And we know that offensively, they're still very strong. The running game is going to be better. And that defense is just going to be so good this year. I just think that the Rams are probably my biggest offseason takeaway. Getting Davante Adams, improving on what would have been a very strong offense coming into this year. They had so many injuries on the offensive line. Puka was hurt. Kupp was hurt. Like, if we get a fully healthy Rams team this year with a much improved defense, I think that's probably like the biggest move we've had all offseason and what it could mean for this team and their prospects heading into this season.
The one that came to my mind, and it hasn't been brought up yet in the chat, was, and it's maybe not a move, but it's been a series of moves, so I'm just going to kind of lump it all together. It's the Pittsburgh offense, right? Moving on from George Pickens, or bringing in DK.
Yeah.
Right. They brought DK in and signed him to a back. Then they moved Pickens. Then they go and draft, they move on from Najee Harris. They bring in Caleb Johnson. Could be a 1-for-1 glove fit. We're not really 100% sure. And then they go from Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, that hybrid, whatever we want to call it. And now it's shifted into 41-year-old last dance Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like, I am very fascinated to see what that Pittsburgh offense looks like, because it's not going to be the same thing that it was last year, but we also know that Arthur Smith wants to run the football. Mike Tomlin wants to run the football, and that's not always. I'll be interested to see how Aaron Rodgers meshes with Tomlin and Smith, and if they can create lightning in a bottle for 1 year, or if it's just going to flame out really fast, and we're going to see Mason Rudolph and Will Howard battle it out later on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really intriguing to know, like, is this going to be a Rodgers offense or is this going to be a Arthur Smith offense? Because I think what people kind of forget is that, yes, Arthur Smith has kind of a weird style that we don't love for fantasy. It's not very high ceiling, but like, there was a world when Arthur Smith made Ryan Tannehill look pretty good, and he was balling out there. And while his per expectation numbers were like off the charts, he was extremely efficient. And it was kind of like this magical season for the Titans. Like, if you just say, okay, well, let's take that Ryan Tannehill and replace him with Aaron Rodgers. You're like, okay, they don't got AJ Brown, but they got DK Metcalf. And, they don't got the Derrick Henry led offense, but maybe Caleb Johnson can kind of do some similar things and manage a massive workload for the Steelers team. They have the complementary piece that they have in Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren. Like, there are pieces here offensively that can work. And in a play action scheme that is great at running the football, but also great in play action, I think the Arthur Smith system really complements Aaron Rodgers well. Like, even when Justin Fields was there, I thought they could do some really good things with Fields, because if they can get Fields to be able to sell play action well, and then obviously they're still going to run the ball very effectively, they could find success. And they did find some success with him. And then you brought in Russ, and he's a little bit better with the play fakes. He's a little bit better at deciphering defenses. And so they were strong there as well. But now you bring in arguably the best version of that. When Tannehill was great at that, and when Russ was great at that, like, you're bringing in a guy who is a Hall of Fame level of good at deciphering defenses, putting the team in the right position in the right spots. And I think that's where it is somewhat interesting to see what could this offense be. And will it be the Arthur Smith of old, or could it be a throwback to when we had a Titans offense that we were actually a little bit excited about, because they were putting up points, they were scoring, and they were extremely efficient. And if there's one thing we know about Aaron Rodgers, is that there has been seasons where he's been extremely efficient. And if all that kind of comes together, maybe they could actually be pretty good offensively.
Yeah, it's just such an interesting It's just an interesting, like, again, it's not one move. It's a series of moves. I think I'm stretching the question a little bit farther than it really was initially asked. You gave one, and I'm just kind of like painting the whole offense. But I think both offenses that we discussed, like, there's a major risk to it all, but there's also like a major reward to it all. Like, if Devontae Adams can be the perfect complement to Puka Nacua, which we both think it can happen, like, that Rams offense could be even better than it was in the last few years that they've had in running. And, Pittsburgh's offense, there's a couple comments in the chat, like, I don't want any part of the Pittsburgh offense. I don't want any part of Aaron Rodgers and his 41-year-old stuff. The only person I want is Caleb. Well, someone's got to get the football to Caleb, and that's going to end up being Aaron Rodgers, and it's going to be schemed by Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin. So, yeah, it's just going to be a very interesting offense to watch and manage. And it's not an easy division either, right? Like, the AFC North has historically been a really, like, you got Baltimore in there, you've got Cincinnati, who's still lurking around, even though their defense is still Swiss cheese. And then there's the Cleveland Browns, which they're going to have a good defense, right? They got a good defense. Offensively, we have no idea what it's going to be. It's going to be Pandora's box, but just very interesting to see what that Pittsburgh offense looks like moving forward. Jay Rich Stiley asks, what are the top 3 things you are most excited about for the 2025 season, and the top 3 things you are not looking forward to in the 2023 season?
Man, these are so open-ended. You're really making me think here.
I mean, they're giving you, the Mailbag show has endless opportunities, my friend.
So for this season, I mean, number one has to be Travion Henderson. I am so excited for Travion Henderson this season, but I will take my homerism out of it. Number one is going to be Bo Nix. I already talked about why I like him so much, why I like Denver so much, and what this offense could be. Number 2 is probably the Chargers. Even though Najee only has one eye, I am so excited for what we're going to get from the Chargers this year. I think year 2 under Harbaugh is going to be phenomenal. Number 3 of things I'm excited about. Feels like I'm excited for everything, but oh, man. I really don't know. I don't have a third. I don't have a third right now. Things I'm not looking forward to is pretty simple. The Lions being good, because I think they're going to suck this year. I think they're going to be in for a down season. The Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are in trouble too. I think the division's going to be really tough, and I'm not looking forward to them being good this year. But number 1 of things I'm not looking forward to for this season is Tyler Shuck's finger guns. That is number 1 on the list. If I see Tyler Shuck's finger guns at any point during the NFL season, I will be immensely excited, but I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it. It's sad. It's scary. And I think the Saints are going to be awful. I think they're going to be awful. And you guys all know that I absolutely love Alvin Kamara. I love Chris Olave. I love Rashid Shaheed. And I watch Saints a lot because one of my best friends is a Saints fan. And so we always talk about the Saints. But the Tyler Shough experience is not something I'm so excited for. I'm not so excited for that.
Dan asks, are we excited to see how Ben Johnson helps the Bears? I mean, I'm excited to maybe see if the Bears can become relevant in the NFC North.
Okay, Brandon, what do you think about Ben? Because I don't like Ben Johnson, man. I've said it on Wake Up. I think Ben Johnson's kind of a prick, and that's okay for him. Like, that's okay. Like, it's not a big deal. He can be a prick. He's a head coach in the NFL, and that's totally cool. But like, I think I'm kind of preying on his downfall a little bit. Like, I kind of want all this great offensive mind, wonder kid. He's going to turn Caleb around stuff. Like, I kind of want to see it all go up in flames a little bit. Not for Caleb's sake, but a little bit for Ben. Let's just humble Ben Johnson a little bit. Just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. You don't see Kellen Moore coming into New Orleans and saying, we're going to turn this thing around. We're going to build this culture up. He's going about his business. Super Bowl champion, right? He's just going about his business. Ben Johnson, what did he do? Lost to Jaden Daniels. Flopped hard. Ran terrible trick plays and bad moments. Sure, he elevated Jared Goff. But let's see. Good offensive line, though. Good offensive line now.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of offensive coordinators kind of come in and do some wonderful things, and then they go on to their next assignment, and it's not always the easiest. So I don't know if the Bears offense is going to be what everybody wants it to be this year. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody just kind of expects, like, we're just going to take the Lions offense and we're just going to strap it on top of the Bears offense. We're just going to put the helmet strap on a little tighter and it's going to work. And Caleb Williams is not Jared Goff, right? Like, yes, DJ Moore, like, yes, the peripheral pieces kind of match up the way they, from Detroit to Chicago, kind of, but like, at the end of the day, like, it's not the same pieces. It's not the same culture. It's not like it is now. He's the head coach. And it's exciting for me to watch it, but it may also not be excited to hear all of the Chicago fans mid-season. Like, we got to get rid of this guy. We need to fire Poles after you just signed him again.
Well, yeah, I got an extension. Yeah.
Like, man got an extension for 15 and 26. Like, the dude's got a worse record than the weatherman. Like, and you're going to keep extending him. Like, I don't know, man.
When the defense is going to be bad. Like, that's another big problem is when they fired Eberflus, the defense got significantly worse.
Yes.
And so now you have a situation where you bring in an offensive coach, and I understand why you're bringing in an offensive coach, and I'm definitely an advocate for offensive-minded head coaches because it's an offensive league, and because a lot of times bad teams that fire coaches need to develop quarterbacks, and you need an offensive mind to do that. But if the defense sucks, the team isn't going to be very good. It's a very tough division. They are clearly the worst team in the division, and I don't think anyone would argue with that. Can they rise up and be competitive? 8-8, or sorry, 9-8, 8-9, potentially. I think a lot of people think they can do that, but they need to take a big step forward offensively in terms of consistency, staying ahead of the sticks. And obviously, Caleb needs to stop making so many mistakes, which he can do. But defensively, they need to be strong as well. And so I'm curious how that all comes together, because maybe the offense is stronger, but you're not going to win games trying to play like the Bengals, because guess what? You don't have Joe Burrow, right? So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But and the other side of it too is, like, you're coming off a season where this division had easy schedules, and historically they were the best division, I believe, ever in terms of record. Their schedule was a lot harder this year, and so the Bears are going to play a lot tougher games, and both them and the NFC East are going to have very difficult times than they did compared to last season. Same with the Commanders, right? The Commanders had an easy schedule last year. It's much tougher this year. So we'll see how they respond, how these teams fit. But yeah, I'm somewhat excited to see what happens with them. But I will say I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't think it's going to be as fireworks as some people might expect.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's take some questions from the chat. We've kind of neglected them a little bit. We took a lot of our questions from the Discord, patreon.com/allgas or ddfantasyfootball.com. Use the promo code, get you into the community where Jay Rich, myself, Ray, the host of content creators were in there. It feels like 24/7 asking answering a whole bunch of questions. But if you want your question here on the Mailbag Show, you can get your question in over there. Jay Rich, in a vacuum, 12 teams, start 11, trading Nico Collins for Joe Mixon and RJ Harvey.
I feel like I just want Nico there. Yeah, give me Nico. I like Nico a lot, man. He's good. I understand why you want Harvey and Mixon, but I think in most scenarios, like I'm just not trading my elite receiver for Harvey and Mixon. It feels like too many tiers down. Brandon, do you feel any differently there, or am I kind of on target?
I want Nico. I think I asked the question 2 weeks ago to Ray. I think somebody had asked the question, Nico being the wide receiver 2, like overall this season, and Ray was in the top 3 conversation. Like if we're talking about Nico potentially getting to that ceiling, like I don't want whatever's left of Joe Mixon and the hype of Harvey in a 12/11. And I don't, again, this is a vacuum too, right? We don't know if this is lineup or best ball. We don't know if there's any format stuff. If I'm just sitting here in a vacuum and you're offering me your Joe Mixon and RJ Harvey and I get Nico Collins back, like I'll just take Nico.
Yeah. Like I think the problem with a move like this is I'm hoping Harvey's good and probably flipping him. Right? Because like Mixon will be fine. He's just old and he has no dynasty value. But I mean, Nico Collins has a lot of dynasty value, way more than RJ Harvey, that's for sure. So you're almost praying Harvey is good and kind of can build up that value. Maybe he will never probably get to Nico levels because Nico's just so good and he's a wide receiver. But I feel like even from a team perspective, a move like this, you'd have to have really good receivers. And I'd still probably want a receiver back, even if it was just like a productive guy, to fill that spot within my roster, because Nico's going to be a starter for you and probably in most cases a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2.
Yeah. Raymond Lynch asks, I have a rookie draft soon. Jay Rich, 12/11, Superflex PPR 2.0 tight end premium. Only key players are Caleb. I'm going to assume that's
Jordan Love,
JJ McCarthy, Malik Neighbors, Marv, Keon Coleman, Jaden Reed, Ricky Pearsall, TJ Hawkinson, Dalton Kincaid. He's got the 101, the 103, the 105, and the 109, the 201, and 206. Draft a bunch of rookies, or are you going to ship them off for veterans?
I would definitely be looking to make a move, probably. Like especially with picks 3 and 5, I would shop them, see what you could get. But I think if you really want to like go after vets, I would be looking to upgrade my quarterback spot with those picks. I think the rest is fine. Maybe you want to be a little bit stronger at running back, because I don't think you did even name a running back in here. I don't see a running back here. But obviously you're going to draft Genty, right? So you're going to be fine there unless someone overwhelms you with an offer. 101 and 103 probably are both going to be running backs. I'd be curious kind of where you'd want to go with that. But yeah, I unless you're going to upgrade your quarterback spot from Caleb, Love, McCarthy, then I'm probably just holding those draft picks and kind of seeing what I can get with them. Because I'd be really interested to see what people thought about, like, can you still get a Caleb Johnson at 9? Is that where you draft Judkins now? Because Judkins would be at 9 or 201, depending on what happens there. And can you take a shot on him? But yeah, your quarterback room is solid. But if you're going to try and compete a little bit more, I think you need some stronger quarterbacks there, or maybe even move up a tight end, because it is a 2.0 premium. So that's where like that 5, that 9 could be picks for high-end rookie tight ends as well that you could potentially look at. So I think I'm probably holding for the picks and upgrading QB if you want to kind of poke around at that. But this is a team that can ascend still and is very, very young. So I'd probably be looking more to move 26 assets depending on how this team shakes out post-rookie draft, unless you wanted to make a big move for a quarterback.
Yeah, I was thinking in my head, what plus the 105 gets me like Joe Burrow? Which one of those quarterbacks? Like, would you be fine moving Jordan Love in a 105?
Jordan Love is the guy I'm moving.
Like, that's the one you obviously want to move, but is anybody even going to take that? You might have to go higher, right?
Yeah, probably go 103. Like Love and 103 get you someone like you're really happy with is the question. Is someone willing to take that tier down? Which maybe they're not, but that's where at least if you have one very stable, startable every week asset and you're rotating between JJ McCarthy, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, kind of whoever you decide to keep of that bunch, like they're all kind of in the same realm. And it just depends on how you value all those guys. But yeah, if someone values Jordan Love, I would be shipping him off immediately to get another quarterback.
Good stuff. Thanks, Raymond. Here we go. Here's another one. J. Rich. Patrick asks, every year we have a surprise sleeper team make the playoffs. Last year it was Washington. Call your shot. Who is the non-playoff team that is going to ascend into the playoffs?
All right. So, I mean, it's not going to happen in the AFC. Like, there's just no way. So I instantly go to the NFC. Oh, man. I think the easiest answer is actually Arizona. When you look at schedules in particular, one of the best sleeper teams to look for would be in the NFC West. So you'd be looking to Seattle. San Francisco's obviously not a sleeper. The Rams are probably the favorites. So it'd be Seattle or Arizona. Again, they're both kind of on the cusp. I think they both have a really good shot, but Arizona to me is the team that if they were to make a run, I think their schedule is easy enough that they can win, 10, 11 games potentially. And that would probably be my pick. I think they're the easy. Yeah, I think they're the one. I think they're the one that you'd look to because they do have a good schedule. They're an ascending team. I think if Kyler can put it all together, I think that's the answer. I think I'm going to go Arizona over Seattle.
It's 49ers easy, clearly.
The thing is, I can't say San Francisco. Like they're a playoff team. They're favored to go to the playoffs. Like they just were shit last year. Like let's be honest, they just sucked.
They were pretty awful.
But like Brandon, do you think the answer is Miami?
That was the one that drifted into my head. Like if they could click, like
are the Jags going to the playoffs? Yeah,
no.
right.
No,
like there's no way. Indy's not going to the playoffs.
Is Vegas?
Maybe Carolina. So I wanted to say Vegas, but the problem is in the AFC, like so there's just no way, man. The Chargers, the Broncos, and then the Bengals, Steelers, and then even the Patriots are ahead of them. Like there's so much to overcome for Vegas. They're a great option as like a true like sleeper, but that means that either the Chargers or the Broncos got to fall out. And those are both 10-win teams last season. So I'm not banking on that right now. I don't think it's Chicago. I don't think it's Green Bay. Minnesota was already a playoff team last season. I think the better question is what's the team that's going to like fall apart this year?
It's definitely not the Giants. There's a high key. Not the Giants have better chance to get the number 1 pick than they do to find their way into the playoffs. I love it, Patrick, but I love the optimism, but there's no hopium in that tank. It is completely empty. Team that could fall out.
Yeah, Sean, the Falcons is decent. I don't like the Falcons. The thing is for me, I don't see 2 teams from the NFC South making the playoffs.
Yeah.
It will be whoever wins that division for me. And I'd probably take just about every NFC West team over the Falcons because their schedule is just so easy. Like it's an absolute joke.
Yeah.
If you look at the 49ers schedule, they play like 2 hard games all season. And it's very similar for all those teams. But yeah, the Falcons is a fine selection. I just don't think it's going to be them.
This was the one that I kept thinking about as the crash out. That would probably surprise a lot of people if the Commanders didn't make the playoffs, because the expectations are Jaden's going to continue to rise. They still have Terry. They still have whatever's going on in that backfield, right? They re-signed Zach Ertz. Like the offense is pretty much intact. Although Cosme, I think, is still out. Like he tore his ACL in the playoffs, so I'm not sure what his timeline's going to be. If he's going to start the season on PUP or if he's going to, be able to start week 1. We'll probably have to stay tuned to that during training camp here. But yeah, I mean, as Sean says it, like the defense was not elite, and the Eagles are still the Eagles, right? You've already talked about the NFC West being what it is. If the Cowboys, I don't want to completely rule the Cowboys out. Like they're still
they can make the they can 100% make the playoff. That's where is anyone really and chat, feel free to weigh in here. Like, does anyone really think the Falcons are better than the Cowboys? If both teams are playing at their best, like I'm taking the Cowboys every time. Every time.
If there's a healthy Dak and a healthy CD Lamb, they have a shot. Like at the end of the day, and now they get George Pickens to be in there. Like
And I really like them bringing in Eberflus. Like, people don't like Eberflus, but he's actually a very good defensive coordinator. And this was a very good defense under Dan Quinn, but it didn't work last year. And they brought in a defensive mind who's seen a lot of success in the NFL. Like, don't be shocked if Dallas's defense rebounds with Eberflus at the helm, and especially getting Travion Diggs back. Like, they are going to be much healthier this year, and I think they have a better guy running the ship defensively.
This is an interesting one. Vikings or Lions. You touched on the Lions. Yeah, they do have brutal schedules. I mean,
it's brutal schedules, man.
I mean, there's some teams like, and that's part of the reason. That's another reason why I just can't even like remotely look at the Giants. Like, it's like, yeah, their defense is going to be remarkably better, right? They've brought in signings. They brought in Adebo. They got Abdul Carter. Like, it's going to be a lot better. But at the same time, like, there's nowhere for them to like get their head above water and breathe until like week 13 when they have the Patriots Monday night. And there's no guarantee that like a Monday night football game in New England is going to be just a walk in the park. Like there's a real case where the Giants could be like 2-15 this season. Like, I can't get there with the Giants this season. But I could see the Commanders taking a slight step back, right? They struggle a little bit at some point. Jaden was hurt last year at one point. Like, if he gets dinged up, like, and they got to go back to Marcus Mariota. Can Mariota right the ship? Can they still continue to be this, is the magic of last year still going to be there? Like,
yeah, Washington has a gauntlet. Like, their schedule is absolutely brutal. Their first 4 games, easy: Giants, Packers, Vegas, Atlanta. But then you got Chargers, playoff team, Chicago, Dallas, KC, Seattle, Detroit, Miami, Denver, Minnesota, the Giants again, Philly, Dallas, Philly. There's like one easy game in there, and it's the Giants. Miami is not an easy game. Detroit at home, sure. They can potentially win that game because Goff sucks outside. But there's not an easy game in that whole schedule. And that's what's tough. I don't want to say the Commanders. I saw someone say in the chat, it's the Packers. Like, the Packers to me are the team they're just screwed, man. Like, I like the Packers a lot. I really like Matt LaFleur. I just don't think they're good enough. Like, I just don't think they're a good enough team right now, unless Jordan Love really hits, which it feels like the fantasy community is still in on Love because of what he did 2 seasons ago. And I get it. Like, you want to be in on Love, but I'm just not going to ignore what we saw last season. And I'm not going to ignore what I expect to be a very difficult run of games this year for this team. If they can improve defensively, which I hope they can, because they did break some moves to kind of help them out, but they still have really struggled to generate pressure on the defensive line, and they have been able to address that as well as I'd like them to. So that's where I really struggle with the Packers. And I know a lot of people have them as a playoff team. I don't. I think they're not going to be in the playoffs this year. And I think that, they're probably going to fall out. It just depends on kind of how far. And can they be worse than Chicago is probably the real question. Because I expect Minnesota to be there. I expect Detroit to be there, even if they regress a little bit. But is there a world where Green Bay falls behind Chicago in the standings is the real question.
I mean, I don't necessarily hate the Kansas City option, Dan. I just think I'm not ruling out Patrick Mahomes. It's just one of those things, like, call it controversy, call it conspiracy, call it whatever you want. Like, at the end of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs just seem to find a way at the end of games to convert. And you can call it cheating, you can call it whatever you need to call it in your head to make it feel like. I think the offense is actually going to be better this year for Kansas City than it was last year. Like, obviously losing Rashee Rice after 3 weeks. I mean, if you lose a key cog to any part of offense that early on, that'll do a lot, and they were relying on, yes, an aging Travis Kelce, a rookie in Xavier Worthy. They didn't have Hollywood Brown right off the rip. Like, yeah, the offense looked. Then Isaiah Pacheco went down with a serious injury, came back and was completely inefficient, like to the point where he got benched for Kareem Hunt, who came literally off his couch, a month earlier. Like, I think with a full off season with an opportunity to get healthy, I think the offense will be fine. I'm not sure if the defense is going to continue to be as elite as it's been in past years. I mean, in Spags we trust is what a lot of people in Kansas City will tell you. So I'm not going to completely write Kansas City off. Yes, it's definitely a hard schedule.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, they may not win. They don't necessarily have to win the division, but they can win. They can get themselves into the playoffs. Like they can definitely get themselves. Like I'm not going to write them off of the playoffs.
Well, I think the hard part with KC is like we can prey on their downfall, and I was talking about how like I don't want to see them continue to win because even though I have this little feud with Ray and I tease him because I like Josh Allen and he likes Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson can't beat Josh Allen, and Josh Allen can't beat Patrick Mahomes. But at the end of the day, if you can't beat Patrick Mahomes, then you are going nowhere. Like you're never going to the Super Bowl because he is going to be the one who's there at the end of the day. And that's where it's like, as much as at some point, Denver's going to catch up and the Chargers will probably catch up. And it seems like this is the year. If there was ever a year to really go after the Chiefs and try and win that division, it's this season for Denver, especially because Denver is a very, very good team. But the Chiefs are a very good team as well. And they're going to be very good this year. And they're not falling out of the playoffs unless, man, like Mahomes would have to get hurt probably.
Yeah.
And even then, like, I don't know if Wentz is still their backup, but like even Wentz could like help this team win games. And I don't think it would be like ridiculous to think that because they are still a very good team. Like they are a very good team.
It's Minshew mania.
Which again, Minshew mania, I'm fine with that. Like I'm fine with Minshew as the backup. Like that's more than fine to compete in games and lean on that defense that is very strong. Like they're going to be good. Bills are still winning this. They're going to be number 1 seed though. Bills all day. Okay. Joke schedule.
What's your favorite bet for the 2025 season? If you have one.
I don't even have any in right now.
Okay.
I don't have any in right now. But let me pull up the board to see what's out there. And I'll rip one off right on stream.
There we go. Look, we get live bets going on, friends.
I mean, you could honestly, I don't hate the Arizona call at all to make the playoffs. Like I think Arizona to make the playoffs is actually pretty solid. Okay. They are currently plus 130, which isn't that bad. Now again, the Patriots are plus 115. So clearly these boards are a little wild. But let's go to the awards because you know what? Actually, and Ray and I talked about this. One of my favorite bets that I genuinely really like a lot is Kyle Hamilton 50-1 to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
Like that one to me is kind of crazy with how good this defense should be. Now you could look to the Eagles defense as well, because we know they're going to be very strong, but like Baltimore has the best team in the NFL. Like, and it doesn't really matter who you ask. A lot of people think they got the best roster in the NFL. And if you got the best team in the NFL, you just drafted Malachi Starks to free up Kyle Hamilton to basically go wild defensively this year. Like he could have a very, very, very good season playing on the best team in the NFL. So at 50-1, I kind of really like Kyle Hamilton to win Defensive Player of the Year. And that would be pretty crazy because I don't even remember the last time that we had back-to-back defensive backs win Defensive Player of the Year. Aiden Hutchinson, obviously the favorite. Love Micah Parsons. Garrett's going to be right there. But I think if you're looking to a long shot, I really, really, really like Kyle Hamilton as a long shot bet. I really, really like it playing on a great team.
You know, I'm looking at FanDuel's Offensive Player of the Year odds, and the one that sticks out to me like a sore thumb is Tyreek Hill at 35-1.
Really?
And it's more so like because of what you need to do in order to get there, right? Like it's not going to just be like a really good season, right? You have to have like that historically, like you just got to be at that high shelf. And he's the guys that are at the top, right, are Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Gibbs at 13-1, Jets at 14-1. Like those are guys that are going to always be there because they are consistently, top of their production. So like I'm looking down the board a little bit, like down board, like CeeDee Lamb at 20-1. I can't see how, unless Dak is
really, you don't think CeeDee could win it? I think you are crazy, dude.
I think he could, but if you're going to do
I think CeeDee Lamb could catch 200 passes this season.
So then should you take Dak Prescott for MVP at like 35-1?
Nah, they won't win enough games. MVP, you got to win games.
You do have to win games.
You got to win games. And that's where, like, again, he's 30-1, but it's just not happening. Like, long shot MVPs just don't really exist. I think your best long shot MVP is actually Aaron Rodgers at 50-1.
Yes,
that's your out of this world. Or if you want to go Stafford as well, 35-1, because those are guys that can put together great seasons, be very efficient. EPA matters a ton in some of these awards when you get down to it, but like it's going to be so hard to beat Allen and Lamar. They're just so good. Like, they're just so good. So good that you need to be excellent to catch them. And like Dak could do it. Goff, there's no shot. Stafford, maybe. Rodgers has done it. Feels very unlikely though.
Yeah. Keep looking. I mean, can I interest you in Bo Nix at 75-1 for the MVP?
75-1.
75-1. I'm just saying.
He's 35-1 on DK, which they're giving Bo Nix some respect. I don't 75-1. I'll take just about anything
because of value, right? When you're talking about value, they're just pure.
75-1 is insane. Like, again, he's not going to win it, but
no, but you could at least, even if you want to play the game of like, hey, they start hot. He's a hot, fresh name. He goes from 75 to 35 or even to 25, and you got probably
that's crazy. So
you probably got
75 on FanDuel.
You probably got
60 on Caesars, 40 on MGM, 35 on.
You see, this is what Jay Rich. This is literally what Jay Rich and I do in the back, like real talk. Like Jay Rich and I will literally sit and be like, "Hey, do you see this odds? Hey, do you see this? Oh, that's great value." Like,
Brandon, you know what we really got to call right now? Who is your protector of the year? The inaugural protector of the year.
It's got to be an offensive. It's got to be a tackle, right? It can't like.
So favorite is Penei Sewell, who again probably will win it because he's so good.
Well, you can get odds for that.
Yeah, Penei Sewell, Lane Johnson, Trent Williams, Jordan Mailata. I mean, I don't know.
It's got to probably be Lane. It's going to be Lane because Jason Kelsey's on the committee that votes for it, so it's going to probably be an Eagle. Like. Being realistic, it's going to be hard because Lane's one of the top left tackle or top tackles in the league. Like, period. Like Mailata is up there too. There's a reason why the Eagles' offensive line is paid what it is. Like, I think all 5 of them have like massive contracts, and it's for a reason. But yeah, I just happened to be scrolling right there, and I happened to see 75-1 Bo Nix, and I'm like, interesting.
I mean, another one. Dak Prescott, 15-1 to lead the league in passing touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean,
which he could definitely do that. They have no running game. He's behind Allen. He's behind Mahomes. Allen's never doing that. There's just no shot. Goff's not doing that. Lamar, I mean, he threw a ton last season, but we don't expect him to do that every year. Baker, of course, is up there. But Dak, 15-1. And if you want to go even spicier, Matthew Stafford, 28-1. Like, these are guys that can throw for a lot of touchdowns.
You know, I know we're running down the weeds of bets. This is like what I do all the time. It's just have fun. I just put together like a little parlay here, Jay. Lamar Jackson to throw 40 touchdowns and Joe Burrow to throw 40 touchdowns.
Oh my God.
Both of them. And it's 26.5-1.
That's it. Oh man, that's not enough.
I need a third wheel.
No, just change it to Dak and someone else. Like, do Dak and Stafford, and that'll be like probably 100-1 for 40 each.
Dak and Stafford is 146-1.
Now that's a bet I can get behind.
There you go. All right, there you go. See,
and so then last but not least, Brandon, I need your pick right now.
Okay.
NFL regular season leader in interceptions.
All right, so this is going to have to be somebody who has to play at least 13 games.
Well, you got to play probably the whole season.
Probably got to play the whole season, but if you're really bad, who's the odds-on favorite to be the worst?
It's a tie with 5 guys.
It's got to be Darnold's got to be in there.
Darnold is on there. Can you game the other 4? No, Flacco's not on the list.
Flacco's not in there. Okay,
you got to think like actual starters.
That
are going to play for sure.
Is Stafford in that group?
Stafford is in that 10-1 list.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you got 2 players who've never played a game, and one that everyone loves.
So JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy is one.
Okay.
The other one who's never played a game.
Cam Ward.
Moses Cam Ward.
Okay, there we go. All right. And then the one that everybody loves.
Most people like him, yeah.
Most people like him.
He had a very good season last year.
Trevor Lawrence?
No. He's 15-1. He's next on the list.
He's up there.
He's right there with Penix and Jordan Love and Drake. Jordan Love, actually, not a bad show. No, it's Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is
Baker
up there
Mayfield.
too.
Okay,
He
yeah.
throws the ball.
I knew. At one point Trevor was leading the league before he fell apart. Literally,
Yeah, until he got hurt.
until he got hurt. Like,
Yeah.
and that's probably one of the reasons why. Like, for me, if I'm taking a swing, it's probably at him because Cohen and them are just going to throw the football. I don't really see them running the football. Like,
Yeah.
I could see their neutral pass rate being like north of 55%, and they're just whipping the ball all over the place. And if Trevor's back there, although, did you see his golf swing?
Trevor's? No, I didn't.
Yes.
Is it bad or is it good?
It's
bad.
It's up there with Charles Barkley for most uncomfortable watch.
Oh, it's that bad. Wow. Jeez,
He does. I don't know if it's because of the injury, but like, he has a 3/4 swing. He had the LeBron swing.
Oh,
so he's kind of got that. Like,
I mean, he's 6'5", isn't he? Maybe even
he is
6'6". So
yeah, he's a big dude. So he doesn't really need to bring. He's like Tony Finau. He doesn't need to bring it all the way back.
Yeah.
All right, Jay. I asked Ray this question. I'm going to finish with. We're going to wrap up with this question. What is your bold prediction for the 2025 season? So it's got to be something that has like 5 to 10% chance of actually hitting. Ray gave us that Anthony Richardson Sr. would be a fantasy viable quarterback.
5% chance of happening. I'm gonna say, oh man, but I gotta think it actually happens though. I don't think that's gonna happen. Ah man, bold predictions. I feel like we go through the league so much, I don't even have one. I think it'll be CeeDee Lamb Triple Crown. That'll be my bold prediction.
Okay.
I really like CeeDee Lamb. Like I know people like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, but the guy you should be like really targeting is CeeDee Lamb. Because when the last time Dak Prescott was healthy for an entire season, guess what? CeeDee Lamb was wide receiver 1. And I like George Pickens in Dallas. I think he'll be great. But CeeDee Lamb is the one who's going to eat. Like, he's going to be very, very good once again. He was wide receiver 1 when last time Dak was healthy, and I think he's going to be wide receiver 1 again. But Triple Crown for CD is kind of where I think, like, it's not super bold. If it's going bolder, then I see in the chat it's Denver Broncos division. Like it is. Like that's the one I'd be going for. Broncos probably 12, 13 win season, win the AFC West. Not going to get number 1 seed because they're just not going to beat Buffalo. Buffalo probably won't lose more than 3 games this year. Their schedule is such a joke. But yeah, it's like people should be excited for the AFC West, including the Raiders. Like, the Raiders are not a bad team. They're going to be good this year, but we'll see. I'm tempering expectations because the division is tough and the schedule is tough as well. But the Raiders will be a competitive team this year. And I'm not going to say playoffs for them, but that would be pretty bold. It certainly would.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for another episode of the Saturday Night Mailbag. I know we had one super chat from old Big Diaz.
Let's go.
And he's just going to say, bruh, I want to say this one time. So I know he's listening on the pool. I know he's got us on the speaker. Appreciate you, brother Diaz. There's simply not enough J Rich presence. And it's a damn shame.
Appreciate it, Diaz. Appreciate it, bro.
He's poolside listening amongst the chaos of kids screaming out there, the dogs wilding out there in the Arizona heat. But Jay, as a friend, appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you for having me, bro.
What can people look forward to over the next, training camp is now about to be underway. What can we expect from a content perspective from you on DDFFB, on DD Fantasy Football, over on Ray's channel? What can people expect to see from you over the rest of the offseason?
Honestly, I think that the biggest thing is watch Wake Up, because obviously we're going to go through everything and anything on that show. We dove into Tristan Wirfs and how he impacts the Bucs for like 15 minutes last show. We try to blend NFL and fantasy well together and talk about things that people don't always talk about, and try and just add additional perspectives. But for DDFFB, we'll see, man. We'll see. I've had some things I've been thinking about. A lot of people think they know what's going to happen in the season, and I'm not trying to say I know everything, but there's a lot of things that you can easily look to, from betting lines to projections to pass volume, that can help you navigate through some of the noise that we don't have or that we have in the fantasy community. And like, we'll see, but hopefully some more shows coming soon. But the main thing is wake up. And obviously the prospect profiles, like Ray has already talked about doing like 20 to 30, and we got like 5 out right now. So there's lots to come. Definitely watch Jordan Tyson when it drops. I told Ray already, like, he's going to be the wide receiver 1. Like, he is going to be the wide receiver 1. And I would be completely shocked if he wasn't. His movement, the way that he plays, and I will definitely be tuning into Arizona State games this fall. Like, I definitely will. But yeah, expect a lot of college. Expect obviously a ton of NFL. And little sneak peek, if you're still listening, Ray and I were talking that we'll probably do NFL Mondays, college Wednesdays, and then NFL again on Fridays in season. So you may be seeing a ton of college content going forward, which we have done in spurts, but it may be more consistent this fall and something to be very, very excited about as the draft approaches and obviously the season kind of progresses throughout the year.
Well, there you have it, friends. And make sure you also tune into their Bleacher Report, which is also on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., right? 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, make sure you tap in with Ray and Jay Rich over there. But thanks so much to the over 1,100 people that tuned in to us tonight. Thanks so much. Leave your questions in the comments. I'll answer. Jay Rich will answer. The rest of the team will answer. Or if there's something that we completely messed up, hey, poop happens. But we'll rectify it and make sure that we get it out. Appreciate everybody. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another Saturday Night Mailbag show. But until then, we're out. Peace.